Well, hello everybody, it's Dale again, and this is going to be everything wrong with conservative media. Now, I started videos off the same, not here to beat up on just conservative media. Everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses. With conservative media, the strengths, still working on those. I'll figure them out one day. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the holy grail of politics right now. Is trying to find out one of the strengths of conservative media. Because, like I love my conservative brothers and sisters. Like your everyday conservative in rural America that goes to work every day, work hard. I love y'all, man. I got nothing but love for y'all. You know, I know that all of the problems with conservative America and all of the hatred conservative America has towards liberals boils down to conservative media. They are in my opinion, conservative media is the number one problem in this country, and it's not even close. And the reason that conservative media is the number one problem in this country is because in the 80s, I think it was Reagan, got rid of a little something called the fairness doctrine. Now, anybody who knows a little bit about politics is going to know exactly what that is. For those who don't know what the fairness doctrine was, it was basically a doctrine that was created in, I think, the late 40s or early 50s to combat propaganda. And basically it meant that, it was a doctrine that said that you can't just have a radio show that just goes out there every day and just talks trash about liberals. It was basically a way to, sorry about that. I'm trying to decide if I should do the video over again. Nah, I'll keep going. All right, so it was a way that you could just go out there. You couldn't just have people go out there and just spend all day talking trash about liberals. They had to actually bring liberals on there, and they had to provide both points of view. So in other words, if the fairness doctrine was still out there, you couldn't just have, Tucker Carlson going out there and just making up a whole bunch of stuff about liberals. And I'm not saying he makes everything up, but he does mischaracterize liberals, and he mischaracterizes the positions that liberals take on a lot of things. And he does sensationalize every little bad thing that is on the left. And the left's not perfect. The right's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So, but conservative media is the one that fuels all this. And they've been fueling all this for a long time. And if you actually look back, Fox News was created, I think, the year after the fairness doctrine went away. After they repealed it, Fox News was started the year after. And actually early on, Fox News used to have a lot of they used to have a lot of liberals on there. I mean, you can look up right now on YouTube, and these are some of the best videos ever as far as if you want to talk about being able to see the future, is whenever they put Jon Stewart, he was on there with he had a few debates with Tucker Carlson. He was on a show on Fox News back in the day with Tucker Carlson, and he was also on there with I can't remember his name. The guy from Fox News who now works for one of the other places, Wallace. He was on there for Wallace, I think, a couple of times, and even O'Reilly. He was on O'Reilly. He had a few interviews with O'Reilly. So, it's been a problem in the conservative media for a very, very long time. And honestly, there has to be potential for some wildly conservative entrepreneur to go out there and just start something that starts to call out the BS, that starts to call it out. All the BS that you see there. I mean, at least, fairly characterize where the Democrats are coming from. Come up with new ideas to fix our problems from a conservative, excuse me, still a little bit sick, from the conservative standpoint. Y'all can do that. There should be an opportunity for that. I think that if conservatives had that option, and they actually had the opportunity to actually, pierce that conservative bubble and actually learn some new stuff. Because, conservative media, y'all piss me off more than anybody, because there's so much stuff out there. There's so many new technologies. I mean, all of this fear mongering about, oh, we can't go green and all this and that. I mean, there's so many opportunities for so many Americans to just make it through going green. I mean, we could lead the world in going green. We have a Democratic Party that wants to do it. We have the technology sector that wants to do it. I mean, the fact that y'all spend 90% of the time talking trash about our upper education, I mean, that's how we stay competitive with the rest of the world. I mean, there was an interview of the guy for Apple. I don't remember his name. I don't even remember how many years ago. It was some years back. But he said that, China's not the cheap manufacturing place that it used to be. The reason that a lot of the stuff is made in China is because China has the personnel with the skills needed for modern manufacturing. We just don't have those skills here. So y'all talk trash on all of our higher education and all that. Like, first of all, is we need the arts. Anytime that you lose a lot of the arts, you end up like Nazi Germany. So we need the arts. Stop talking trash about the arts. Like, we need music. We need that. I mean, nobody wants to live in freaking Soviet Russia. And it can't just all be whatever conservatives say is okay. I don't understand that at all. Y'all talk trash about literally anything that's not conservative is automatically bad. And anybody watching, of course you're going to say that. That's the most predictable thing in the world. Oh, imagine that. Conservative media is going to talk trash about all the other media. Because why? They want you to watch conservative media. So I don't even understand how anybody buys this. For some reason, they trust you guys. And that's what's the most disgusting thing about conservative media. Conservative media knows that conservatives in this country trust them. And they're taking advantage of that trust every single day. And they're not properly informing their audience. And that's what's so frustrating about it. So conservative media, to me, is literally the most diabolical entity in the entire country. And I have no love for mainstream media. I don't have any love for them. I have a video out there on them too, probably. I have no love for them. And if I don't have one, I'll have one very soon. I promise you that. I have no extra love for conservative media or for mainstream media. But conservative media literally goes out of their way to not hold Republicans accountable. They go out of their way. Like, they will literally distract their viewers from every little bit of corruption amongst the Republican Party. And, conservatives shouldn't stand for that. Conservatives, you have to demand that. You have to support independent conservative media that's actually going to be honest and that's actually going to talk about working with Democrats and that's actually going to properly, diagnose the problems in this country and what a lot of the solutions that the right is coming up with, how a lot of those, they just make the problems worse. I mean, honestly, if you build your entire model on all of these problems in the country and all of the problems being the Democrats' fault, why would you want to fix any of the problems in the country? How is conservative media putting any pressure on the Republican Party to fix any problem? Because any problem in this country, conservative media is just going to blame the Democrats for. So why would Republicans want there to be, why wouldn't the Republicans want there to be as many problems as possible? They want the country to be as trash as possible because they know that conservative media is just going to blame the Democrats for it. Even if it's their fault, well, no conservative voters ever going to know that because, we can't beat up on conservative voters, for being misinformed. Like, the only reason that liberals and progressives are better informed than conservatives is because progressive and mainstream media, liberal media, they don't constantly lie to their audience. If they started doing, and if they started having the same incentive structure as what's on conservative media, and if they just started lying to everybody, I promise you, liberals and progressives would be just as radical as conservatives would be as far as their voting habits. So, anybody out there who's trying to beat up on conservatives because, of all these crazy people that they're voting for, I mean, that's what their media is giving them. And that's why, every single problem amongst conservatives and the reason that the government can't work, and not the only reason, there's a lot of reasons there, but one of the number one reasons is because conservative media does not put any real pressure on the Republican Party at all to do anything. They just don't. All they do is put pressure on the Democrats. That's it. They put pressure on the Democrats. And honestly, it's helped the Democrats. I mean, now y'all kind of struggling to find a whole lot of bad stuff. Like, it's hard for y'all to find any even a Democratic operative that has been arrested for anything. It's hard for y'all to find any of that because you've been playing the refs for the last, 20 years. You spend 20 years playing the refs, everybody else in your conference is going to be really good at not fouling people, they're going to get a lot better and you're going to stay in the exact same place, And so again, I'm not here to beat up on everybody, or at least that's what I normally say. This video really is to beat up on conservative media because conservative media, y'all are like the number one problem. And y'all know this, nothing I'm saying here that the executives on Fox News or OAN don't already know. Like, that is their entire business model, and to be fair to them, all media is sensationalized. Mainstream media, progressive, like the whole point of media, the whole point of me making any of these videos, the reason I talk the way I do in these videos to try to have a little bit of energy, the reason sometimes I do them at night or whatever, is to try to get people to watch, right? That's the goal of anybody who's making any type of content, no matter where it is. The goal is to get eyes on your content. you know? So that's the same for everybody. In the mainstream media, they are sensationalized too. They will run stories. They will, they'll tweak stories a little bit to make them more exciting. That's just the way it's been since the beginning of mankind, since the beginning of documenting anything. I'm sure that in a lot of them paintings in caves that we see from way back then, I promise you right now, there's some, there's a little ego in some of that stuff, I can promise you. So, conservative media, y'all have to step it up. And if the current conservative media isn't willing to do it, if they're too in a bed with the politicians and there's no actual incentive structure there for them, then there needs to be some conservatives in this country, who actually just want what's best for the country, want to actually work with Democrats to actually fix problems, who want to come up with solutions to problems that, align with conservative principles and conservative ideology. If there's some people out there, y'all need to try to take over this game. Because I promise you there is a, it's like they say, if you build it, people will come. If you provide that service to them, if you actually just start just calling out all of the BS on there. Anybody who's conservative has a nice long record of being a conservative, and make sure you explain to everybody. Of course they're gonna call you a rhino. Of course they're gonna talk all this trash. Like anybody who actually speaks the truth of power, they're going to try to talk trash against you. But you can use that. And this is actually a time where you can use that. And I was actually disappointed because I thought Joe Rogan would actually be that. I was really disappointed. I thought Joe Rogan could actually be that voice on the right, that conservative on the right who could just keep it 100% sane. But the problem with Joe Rogan is the same problem anybody else in this country would have had. If you spend the majority of your time hanging out with conservatives or spend the majority of your time hanging out with liberals, either way, your politics are gonna slightly skew to the people around you. And Joe Rogan, he hasn't really had any liberals on in a long time. He ain't had any. When was the last time he had Pac-Man on there? It's been he had Pac-Man on there twice, but it's been a couple years. He's never had Sam Cedar on there. The fact that as you're trying to talk to all these all these intellectuals and all the some of these political commentators or, anybody involved in politics on the right, the fact that you wouldn't have Sam Cedar on your show, not one time, because one, Sam Cedar's funny. He's entertaining. He's been doing it for a long time. He's great on video. The fact you haven't had Sam Cedar on there, and Joe Rogan, if you ever hear this, but I doubt he's ever going to hear this, but if he does, Joe Rogan, please get Sam Cedar on there, because that is going to be one of the most entertaining shows. You're going to learn more about politics from Sam Cedar. That guy's forgot more than I'll ever know, and, I've only been following politics for the last 7 years. Over the last 7 years, he's forgotten more about politics than I probably know. So if you ever get a chance, put him on there. Again, conservatives, you have to demand that your media talk to liberals. You have to demand that your media hold your side accountable because, again, that's all we have control over. You have a great day. Love you.